Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Tim Wildman, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Well, what about this situation where tens of thousands, now hundreds of thousands of people are coming up from Central America and Mexico, but primarily Central America, coming into the U.S. illegally and then being released into our country? Why is our government allowing this to happen? And what are the consequences to the Central American countries? That's not talked about very often. Abe Hamilton, Ed Battagliano, you and I were watching a video of the El Salvadorian president talking about this.
Yeah,
right?
Nayib Bukele was on Tucker Carlson, and I didn't know this. You mentioned it. I looked it up. The president of El Salvador said that country has lost a third of its people. He didn't give a time element, so it might be over a decade. Who knows?
I think it is over a decade.
But this is a third of the population of his people migrating to the United States. He was talking about the economic devastation on his own nation. You know, it used to be called a brain drain when a country would lose its smartest people who would come to the United States. I don't know who, the socioeconomic status of all the people who left El Salvador, but a lot of them, I'm sure, are people who are go-getters and want to try to make a living, build a business in the United States. But in any case, the president of El Salvador said his country's been devastated by this stream of immigration that's come to the United States.
Abe, isn't it the responsibility of a wealthy country like the United States of America to take in poor people from all over the world?
No,
Huh?
no.
You call yourself a Christian?
Yes, I do very well. I mean, Jesus himself said, "The poor you'd have with you always." No,
What is our responsibility then? As I'm talking about on the federal government level.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a responsibility to be a compassionate nation, but first and foremost to our own citizens. You know, having widespread economic migrancy coming into our country, it's been documented that it decimates the economic prospects of American citizens in many of our largest cities. You know, because you have competition in many instances of unskilled labor and other things of that nature, so it creates that competition. And the reality is that the Constitution gives wide latitude to the President of the United States to set the parameters for immigration. Congress has a role, but ultimately that's one of the major functions of the executive branch of our federal government. And so this is something that I think many of the American people are going to take into consideration as we approach midterm congressional elections in 2022 and ultimately in 2024 when we're once again re-electing a president.
A third of the Senate will be up in 2022, which will be here before, 2022 before you know it. And then, of course, the House of Representatives. And Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats only have like a 6-vote margin. So, I mean, I think the Democrats are worried this could have a negative consequence to their majority.
Especially when you see things like their policies have resulted in a third of El Salvador losing its population. I mean, once that becomes more and more widespread and more known in our country, it starts to raise the question, do we really care about the people that we're professing to care about?
Thank you for joining us today on Reason and Company. We'll see you next time.